Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today I'm here with Matt, who started FBA not too long ago. It felt like it's been a while though, because you've been in touch with me, I feel like, since you got started, but you are a seven-figure FBA seller who is going to hit seven figures this year alone. So you went from just seven figures over start to finish to to seven figures in 1 year, man. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for all your help over the years too.
Yeah, man, you've been equally helpful just watching your journey from afar. You know, you've kind of kept me up to date with what you've had going on, and I know we've traded some reviews for new products and whatnot. So
Yeah,
Amazon's not
I
listening,
know what you're
hopefully.
talking about. Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, so I'm happy you could join me though, just to kind of shed some light on your journey. And I guess you know what, let's start with what we were talking about before we hit record, because I think it's really awesome that as a YouTuber, I get to sit down with people like yourself, hear your unique insights into e-commerce in general. You were telling me that you are a print-on-demand seller, but you've been prioritizing FBA. You think that's where your time's best spent. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. So, started doing print on demand. I want to say somewhere in 2020. I was one of the lucky ones that got into Amazon merch, like my second try. So it was not wasn't a big deal like it is for some people that keep getting turned down. Followed your instructions on your YouTube videos about doing the integration with Printful I went to Etsy, uh, Amazon. I pushed them to Amazon, even though I had the merch account. I also did some on eBay, and I was spending a lot of time on it, coming up with designs, and I learned how to do a little bit of Photoshop to make them, somewhat palatable, so I could try to get some sales. And I found my best-selling shirts were ones with just a basic two-word phrase on them. It was just something catchy that
Mm-hmm.
and it was a little bit. I don't want to say it was frustrating, but I just noticed that my FBA business, for the return on investment and time that I was putting into FBA, I was just getting a lot more sales and money back from my print on demand. Was maybe doing a dozen 20 shirts a month, whereas my FBA business was doing you know 50 sales a day.
Yeah.
So it was just a time management thing that I decided to kind of just let the print on demand sit where it was at, and I haven't uploaded any new shirts in probably a year. Just let the ones I have sit there.
Yeah, man. Well, who knows where print on demand could go if you jump back into it too. That's what's so cool, man. Like I've gone through periods in the past where I kind of lost interest, but it always kind of was there. You know, I'd maintain it a little bit and you know, it'd still make sales. And then if you get the desire to jump back into it, it'll be there, right?
Yeah. Another aspect of that is Etsy customers are much more high touch than
Mm,
Amazon are. So those
yeah.
50 sales a month from Etsy, you're touching them customers a whole lot more than you are with your Amazon ones, even though you're doing 10 times the volume, or at least in my case, that's how it was.
For sure.
So,
So let's talk FBA, man. Like how
mhm.
successful, I guess you can kind of steer the conversation to anywhere you want to take it, but I'm just curious, like,
Sure.
how successful was your first product? I think when people are thinking or like watching this interview and they're not FBA sellers yet, a lot of people are scared, rightfully so, of the like monetary investment and the time investment in launching that first product. Like, was your first product a success?
In some aspects, it was financially, it took off really well. I was really happy with the sales it produced. It sold really well for about 4 months, and I didn't do my due diligence, and it was a Amazon restricted product. And so Amazon went through and basically wiped out the whole niche of everybody that was selling the product. And I don't mind
Mm,
telling you, it was those sky lanterns. You like the little flame thing, and then watch some paper lanterns go off into the sky.
right.
We had we were
No
doing really
liability
well with
there,
them.
right?
No, and I don't blame Amazon. Some states are illegal, so like how do you limit what states and what counties they get shipped to, right? So it made sense, but yeah, so we were selling really well. In fact, we had gotten to the point where we had just landed on California's coast from our supplier 10,000 units of sky lanterns, and then I get the email, wake up to an email saying your listing's been closed due to that. So
That's crazy.
we did an audible, and we're like, well, what can we do? Well, we got this print on demand stuff going on in Etsy. Let's just put our lanterns on Etsy, and that worked really well. We are doing about 20 sales a day on these sky lanterns on Etsy for a while. And so what we were doing was, when you have to pull inventory back from Amazon, they don't do it in a 10,000 bulk shipment. They dip and dime you from every fulfillment center around the United States. So we were literally getting shipments of boxes of like 5 to 10 units for a year after we had our listing got closed. And so basically that's what we did. We just kept it on Etsy. We tried eBay. Both those platforms eventually canceled those listings for the same reasons, but we were able to clear out of our stock. So that being said, we didn't lose any money on the deal because we were still able to sell them through another platform. But we learned a lot. We knew to do the homework on a product to make sure it wasn't restricted or what's the other one? Restricted or
hazardous goods.
Yeah, hazardous
Something
goods.
like that.
Yep. So we learned our lesson there and never launched another product like that. But we took the money that we were making off that, and this has been my business model since we started in 2019. Every time we make money off of a product, we're putting it right back into the company. We've been going now for almost 3 years here, and I have yet to really take much profit off the business. I'll pay for little things personally off of with the business money, maybe a couple thousand total, but we just keep launching new products because it'll grow as fast as I can put money into it. Once you kind of get the eye for what's going to work as a product and sale, you don't have that issue of trying to find new products to launch because you find them faster. You can really afford to keep launching them. At least in my case, that's how I feel.
Yeah. That's great, man. And that's kind of like, I can relate to that. When I really got the FBA bug, my first year, like I started growing exponentially myself. Like I went from, oh man, I don't know if I belong, I'm scared. Launched one product. As soon as that was a success, like a successful product, and I knew it was going to work,
Yep.
I instantly, like with the same supplier, launched 2 more SKUs of the same product because it was just, then it's a brand, and then I immediately found another supplier and launched like little plastic, like basically a themed plastic cup is what I'll say. I don't sell them anymore, but so I instantly went from like 1 to 3. And then after that, like did kind of the same thing with the plastic cups, launched 2 more, and then expanded the first brand, and then launched a whole nother brand where I launched like 7 SKUs right away because it was tied to a website that I built in college. So I went from having like my first order cost me $1,600. My second order maybe cost me like, another like 5,000. That's with shipping. And like, then I was launching my whole new brand, 7 SKUs. And I remember wiring like over 30 grand. And I was just like, whoa, this got here quickly, and I was kind of scared at that point. I was like, maybe I grew too quick.
And I do that every 2 weeks. I wire about 30,000 every 2 weeks out now. Yep.
Yeah.
It's scary to think how much money I run through.
Can I ask, like, do you have to go to the bank yourself, like manually do it, or like, because that used to be the biggest pain in the ass for me, even though I had a bank across the street from my 9 to 5, like it was still such a pain.
No, I wouldn't do it if I had to do that. That would be a different conversation. Up until the point where I started wiring these larger amounts, larger to me anyway, I did it all with a credit card and got the points. Alibaba then started charging a fee for it like last year. So no, my bank allows me to do it through my online banking account. So
got you. Yeah, I've thought about that too, but
yeah, I think it cost me a little bit. I want to say maybe $60 or $80 a month to have that feature, but I can just wire it right from my
plus wire fees.
Depends on the amount I'm wiring out, but could be.
Okay.
Yeah. If I do it from my personal account, it's included in I can do up to 50,000 from my personal account. So I typically do some out of there and then some from my business account. So,
okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. That's just something I always wondered because it used to be a kind of a thorn in my side. And then nowadays I honestly just like lean on my mom a little bit for help because she's really? In and out of the banks anyways. Yeah. So I'll just, I mean, I don't know if I should have said that, but I love my mom. I always take care of her. So she's kind of like employee number 1 and she's willing to help out. So
that's awesome. No, I live on an island in North Carolina, so I don't have a branch within an hour from me that I bank at. So yeah, I'm not going to a branch.
So. Yeah. Plus they're closing down so many bank branches. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but never a good sign when that's happening. But anyways, it's for a different day.
No, for my 9 to 5, I work in the financial industry too as well. So I totally understand how that is.
Yeah. Anyways, so tell me about like expanding your I don't know, should I say expanding? It's not, I guess it's not your brand or you're not off your first product, but what did things look like after that?
Yeah, we do have a brand. We trademarked our brand name, and we just keep launching new products. So a lot of the early products from 19 and early 2000 We don't have anymore. We've either found better products to invest our capital in, or they just didn't sell well enough. Like at first, you know, they were selling good for the scale.
Mhm.
When we first started, my goal was to really sell like $600 to $800 a day was my goal. Just enough that I could supplement our income and my wife could be a stay-at-home mom. And then once that got to, all of a sudden we were doing $1,000 a day in sales. And then, you know, we're like, you know, maybe eventually I could replace my income, you know? And so we just kept launching new products. And none of them have a theme. Like if you looked at my catalog, which is maybe 15 products now or something like that, a lot of them are variations. Like I did, like what you did, like even with the lanterns, we started with a 20 pack and then we launched a 10 pack and a 5 pack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing. And I do that with every product I have so far, for the most part, have variations to them, and they're easy wins. You're already getting the traffic to your listing. As long as the variation makes sense, like it's got to be something that the market's calling for. I have found that that's an easy way to launch too, because you already have reviews, right? So you're not trying to do that whole new launch strategy. So getting a couple of, you're getting your foot in the door with a couple is really important. But yeah, so there's no general theme to our products. They are completely different from each other, except for the variation listings.
So is it a general brand that you trademarked, or do you have more than one brand registered brand?
Just one,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
general.
how I would do it too.
Yeah, our first one, we didn't think that through. Our first one was Sky Lanterns LLC, and then when that one crashed, it's like, well, our next product is in the planting category. What does Sky Lanterns have to do with plants? You know, so
right.
We did then register a general one where we could just have everything under. So
yeah, I've done the same thing basically.
Yeah. We launched another plant product last month. We've got that kitchen product that we have now for, I don't know, maybe close to a year now. I think that kitchen product's been out. So, you know, baby shower stuff, there's no connectivity there other than there was a niche. So
are you, when you are doing your research, like, are you making decisions based off of like, because this is something I always try to warn people of, is like when you're looking at products, doing your research, like think of how much money it takes to like bankroll if you hit the number one spot, you know?
Yep.
Do you like, are you like, is that ever an issue for you? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of like a personal, like financial question, but I don't mean it like that. But like, is that something you take into account? Like, I would never try to launch Bluetooth headphones because I know if I hit the number one spot, like I don't personally have the means to like fund that product, you know?
I haven't. I haven't thought that through because, you know, a lot of times I will use a credit line to finance the product. So it's never really money out of pocket, and it's probably not the best financial advice to run a business off of a credit line. But I have taken advantage of that Amazon lending.
Yeah.
And just utilize the crap out of that. So I don't have any personal money into the business anymore. I did at first, but
yeah,
it's all business credit lines at this point. So
interesting.
no, the things that stand out to me when I'm product searching is, you know, I don't get me wrong, I'd always love to have that top spot, but I typically look for like, what are the top like 3 sellers making, and what can I wedge in there if I can beat, you know, them on photos and product optimization, or product listing optimization, right? If I have a better product and a better listing, where am I, you know, how much of that can I pull in? So I typically like to look for something that's doing like 50,000 a month in sales, right? 30 to 50,000.
Mm.
And I think that's a good range, because you probably won't get quite that high. I have one product that's a bestseller, but the rest of them are just in that top 3 in that category. So
Nice. Yeah. And I mean, that's, I guess you probably, if someone's new, you know, would you recommend probably like aiming a little bit lower so that, you know, like I always tell people, maybe try to make like 1,000 a month in profit off the first product. Like, just because like most people don't want to throw that much money into the first
yeah,
product, and average profit margins and all that. Like, you know,
yeah. I mean, it like, who cares if it's $500 a month? Like, get a successful
right.
product that you're making money off of to start, and build off of it from there. You know, like
Have you had any products like I once launched like glass like cappuccino mugs or something, just because they seemed like a screaming, oh, do this, and then immediately regretted it. I instantly had sales and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be rich off this product, you know,
yeah,
and then just like I had to cut it loose because of how many of them would break in the mail. Did you ever have any like similar
Uh,
issues?
that's really good feedback. So I've been trying to help my brother get into the game. I offered to kind of bankroll his first product as long as he kept it a cheap one, as long as he didn't get crazy. And that was one of the products that double walled glass cappuccino cups. It was one that he found. The numbers looked good on it. I think he had that kind of analysis paralysis deal where he just never wanted to pull the trigger, even though I was going to be paying for it. I think he was still being smart with my money, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But let me try to think. So I can tell you that I think it was like the second product we launched were stackable planters, and they were huge, right? They take a ton of inventory space and Amazon inventory fees when you get those bigger products. I think last December they hit us with like $6 or $8 grand worth of inventory fees. So like, how to make money off that, right? So that's just a product that would always show up missing parts or damaged, and it wasn't worth the hassle to keep it up. I don't
Plus
think
return shipping.
Yeah. And then the space, like we probably have 40 of them underneath my house right now because they get returned, and then Amazon sends them to me once they've been opened, and it's like, they're like half used. Some of them have dirt in them. Like, it sucks. But so that's just like one product we just kind of like, it was more hassle than it was worth. Wasn't enough profit in it to keep running with it. I think I do have one variation of it still live, but once it runs out of product, I probably won't restock it. That's also a seasonable product. So like they sell really well in April and May, but it's a pretty sharp drop off towards the middle of summer. And then, there'll be a little pickup for Christmas gifts, but that Q4 for inventory is where they get you. And if you have a product that's 12 by 12 by 10, I mean, they're gonna eat you up on that. So
dude, there was somebody on Reddit like years ago when they first made it was like the worst they'd ever made the fees. And I think they've since kind of like curtailed them, made them a little bit more fair. But like that one Q4 where they first like spiked the fees, I don't know if it was like end of 18 or maybe end of 19, but like somebody on Reddit was like, yeah, I sold $8 million on Amazon and I have to claim to the IRS that I lost money on it. Like, this will be interesting because literally the fees wrecked them so badly.
Yeah. Amazon fees takes up a huge portion of it. Like when I tell people I have a product that I sell for $40, I source it for about 15. They're like, oh, all that profit. It's like, yeah, but Amazon takes almost the rest of it. So yeah,
they really got it figured out.
Yeah. And then PPC, like I'm doing about $3,500 a day in sales right now. And my PPC is about 400 a day, $350 to $400 a day in PPC. So 10% of, overall sales is going right to Amazon just for that, and then they get another chunk every time they sell something, or we sell something. So
yeah, but I mean PPC, like I'm with you though. I'd rather spend the money and like kind of keep my products, either get them ranked or keep them, keep the boot on my competition's neck, as I think of it.
Yeah, no, for real. I've done that. I have some products where I'll turn off PPC to see what happens. You can just watch your BSR slowly, climb, because the lower the better for BSR.
Yeah.
But you can just watch it. So like you might sell, you might have a little bit higher profits on the products you're selling, but you're not going to sell as many. And then to top it off, you're going to start slipping in rank. So I've actually been trying to figure out ways that I can make it harder for my competitors. So there's one niche that I'm in that I'm the best seller, the number one listing. I got that top bar with my products. I got the video ad for most of the search terms close to it.
Nice.
Now I'm trying to figure out how I can take up more real estate, right? With like variations. So I was thinking about, it's got 3 variations of the product. I was thinking about splitting those off and trying to take up maybe the top 3 spots with it, right?
I've done that, man. My first product was in a category where you couldn't do child variations, so I didn't have the option, even if I wanted to. So I did do that.
I've been having a hard time getting the variations to rank though. It's always still that first one, and the child ones don't seem to want to get up there. So I'll be honest, I'm a little impatient when it came to that. So I probably only gave it like maybe 4 or 5 days, and I'm like, it's just not getting the traction I want. So I put them back together, and as soon as I put them back together, boom, they're all selling. So
what about like sponsored brand ads? I was going to ask you earlier, are you taking advantage of those?
The header ones,
does it let you with the child variations? It does, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the only way I've ever done it, is with child variations.
Yeah,
So the products that I have, three variations or more, I would
I
usually
figured it
typically
did.
run. Yeah. I think I did try to do it once with different, but because they were in different categories, they didn't match up.
Yeah. I used to have a
So
Vendor Central account, so I could Vendor Central ads account, which they closed that down because it was like cheating for people that had it. Someone messaged me once and just like tried to pay me a lot of money just for access to mine because you could advertise any product on Amazon. So it was like
oh,
really awesome for like if you had like Amazon KDP because the KDP accounts like let you do some stuff, not others. And so I
yeah,
would run sponsored brand ads or headline search ads, I think they were called initially, and like I could just pick a product from Amazon's catalog that was like complimentary that wasn't mine and just jam it in to be the third product.
no kidding. So you
Yeah.
could take like, that's
I've done
awesome.
stuff like that, man. I've also like just drop shipped stuff that I never wanted to actually sell and marked it up like 5x, but of course it's
Yeah,
Amazon, so every now and then they'll still sell.
that's awesome. Yeah, no, I've
Yeah.
never had anything cool like that, but I think I'm a big believer in the video ads. I think it's worth it. I've gone, most of my videos I've had done off of Fiverr. So I get $400 or $500 into a video. And those video ads typically have a cost around 10%,
That's
maybe
awesome. Yeah, I
15.
imagine you don't have to
Yeah.
bid too much, right? Is like there's not that much competition, generally speaking.
That's typically it. Right. And for some reason their click through and their completion rate is high. So, um, I've been blessed with finding some good talent on Fiverr for the videos. But yeah, even the ones that are mediocre still have a pretty good ACoS to
Do
them.
they
So
film like they film a real product, you send them one, or they just like
oh
edit
yeah,
your pictures together?
no, I wouldn't do anything like that. I would definitely send them an actual product and have them put it together, use it. If you can pay a little extra to have a model in there with it, I think that's even better too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, those videos that are just like the slides of your pictures or additional pictures are kind of, I don't know, cheap, but
I still think it's better than nothing, but yeah, I agree. I agree.
better than nothing. Yeah, if you can't swing $400 or $500, or you don't want to do that on your first product or something, or launch it with something like that and then upgrade it down the road.
Yeah.
I've probably gotten a little cavalier with my product launches. Typically, I like to go with like the full suite now, video and picture right at launch to get the, because it's hard to get sales at first. I found, like we
Hmm.
launched a product last week and it's been slow to 6 to 8 sales a day, but there's no reviews. So nobody wants to be that first person to get a crappy product, right? So
Right.
as long as you're doing things by the book and not getting fake reviews, which you shouldn't do because you'll get your listing. You don't want to lose your
Hmm.
seller account over some fake reviews, right? Um, it's hard. And they used to have that Vine program, right, where you could just say,
Yeah.
"I'll give you 3, 4 products in exchange for reviews." And now they put a fee associated with that. I want to say it's like 150 or $200 or something like that.
I've never used it. I've always just kind of like found somebody that was like, I've never been to their house, anything like that. I'm just like, here, I'll PayPal you, just buy it. And
Yeah, and that's unfortunately that's been done. So
yeah, you
that's
got
what
to
you
get
got to
that
do
first
now.
review, like you said, man. You want to know something funny though? My first ever, like when I got like samples from my supplier for the first product I ever launched, I ended up like
Mhm.
packaging them manually, sending them in FBA manually just to see the process.
Yep.
And it sold and got a 5-star, like just pure luck.
Mm. Yeah,
So
because that can make or break you. If your first review is a 1 star or 2 star, you're going to be in
yeah.
trouble. So you definitely want to make sure those first couple that come through are good. Um, I did work out a deal with the lady that did my video. She was in Canada, and she did a really good one for me. And I could not ship her one from inventory in Amazon, so we just made a deal. She purchased it, and then I PayPal her or whatever it was, Venmo her back the money for the deal, which then
Mhm.
allowed opened it up for her to leave a review. And so she let me. I paid her to do a video, and she did a review. So that
Nice.
worked out pretty
Win-win for
well.
you.
Yeah, right. So if you can find a deal like that, jump on it. But
Yeah. So, where do you see like Amazon FBA going, in the short to mid term in the future? Like you sound obviously very bullish on it, but like, just for everybody that's still watching, that's like, is this something I should be really considering, especially maybe like Q4 is coming, anybody doing print on demand, they're going to get a nice little, deposit into their bank account in the next coming months. So what should they do with that money?
yeah, I mean, it would be tough right now to launch for Christmas time. I mean, just being honest.
Yeah.
So you got
Yeah.
you got 3 months before Christmas. Even if you found a product today, by the time you sourced it, got it over here. I don't know if you guys ever talk about doing air shipping. I've never used it. It's too expensive, but So you got to figure the shipment over here takes 4 to 5 weeks at best. So Q4 might be aggressive, but I've never seen the spike in Q4 that would, want me to push me off till next year or something like that. Like sales in January and February are just as strong if you find a decent product. So unless it's seasonable, which obviously that's a different conversation, but like the sooner you get in it, the better. And I would say, start with I don't want to say inexpensive product, but start with what you can afford and you feel comfortable with. I don't want to say losing, but if you broke even on the product, would you be okay with it? Right.
Yeah, and even if you break even and it's getting ranked, I mean, that's a win. The second time you reorder it, it's like, okay, you're ranked now. Yeah. You got some reviews, get some profit.
I mean, personally, I don't look for profit off my first order because by the time you pay for photos and a video and PPC to launch, because you have to pay to have that product on that first page to start, right? You're not going to be on there when you first launch. To me, that first order is going to be a break even, maybe give or take a little bit, right? Maybe a couple $100. The second order, maybe you can start thinking about, can start calculating how much you're going to make off that order. One thing that I think does not get communicated well is when people are looking at this is when you do your first order, you have to have that second order on a boat coming to Amazon before that first order runs out. And I think a lot of people don't realize that your investment's got to be the first 2 orders before you're going to start taking money off of it. Because if the manufacturer has a 30-day window to manufacture it, and it takes 30 days to get here from China, you're looking at a 2-month window there by the time you say go ahead and place that order and put your 30% down.
Plus increased volume of the second order, right?
Yeah.
So more units. Yeah.
And if you find a product that actually sells and your first order is 500 pieces, that's not going to last you that long. So I'm not saying order more for your first order. I'm saying like if you get it and the first 2 weeks you're like, you know what, we're starting to get some sales. I'm getting 4 or 5 a day. It's time to consider, am I going to do a second order? If you're going to do a second order, that's the time to pull the trigger. Because running out of stock is so bad for your listing because your rank decreases, like all your traction goes away. And even if it's just for a week, you have to re-rank again. And it doesn't completely go away, but it definitely, you have to pay more for advertising stuff to get back up there and get to where you were when you ran out of stock. Typically what happens and I do it a lot because one of my products, I sell about 50 a day. So to keep that in stock, I'm ordering several thousand at a time. And we had that shipping crisis or whatever for like a year, it felt like, right? I had shipments that took 3 months to get here between all that mess. I ran out a lot. And I ended up finding a second vendor to get me products. So I was actually buying from 2 different places and just having them just kind of bombard me with shipments so I could have that steady. But for a while there were times that I ran out, and I forgot what my point was, but it's just
the bankrolling it.
Yeah, it's just really expensive to get your product back up into that first page on Amazon to where customers are going to see it.
Yeah, man. I was just on that note too, man. I had one shipment it got closed, dude. Like it took so long in 2020 to get to the to get to its destination that it literally, they were like, yeah, after I think 3 months, which is like 3 months, but I created it to send the labels to my manufacturer like with the payment basically. So it's like, you got everything, just get it done. And it literally got closed. You know what I mean? It got closed like a couple days prior to getting there, but it was just like such a headache, because then it took even longer for them to like scan them in and
it was a nightmare for a while trying to figure out how much product to order because it was taking so long to get through the port in California. And then they're like, oh yeah, they had to transfer cargo in Taiwan. So like we lost 3 weeks from them transferring cargo. And like, what? Like, how is that part of the deal? Like, oh man, I was getting so frustrated, man. But yeah, I did find if you get to the point where you're looking for multiple suppliers for a product, it's a good problem to have. It means you're selling enough to where you need to,
that's
have
awesome.
a lot of product. But yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So are you planning on launching any more before the year ends? Like obviously, so for people watching, like you're still bullish on FBA, and like if if they're not going to like get their product launched by end of year, like would you still kind of guide people, and I guess you told your brother to start. So would you say like you still kind of bullish on FBA into 2023?
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for that residual income, like whatever your goal is. I mean, just to have another income stream, and that's something you can do on night and weekends. Like Amazon's not going to go away. It's not going to, it's not going to get smaller. Yeah, sure. There's more people like us joining every day and selling products, but I'm telling you, like you see so much people joining and they just have crap for pictures and crap for listings. Like just do it and do it well. Like do anything you do well, right? And it will perform if you do well and you do your homework and pull the trigger. Don't wait. Do that analysis paralysis stuff and take 3 months to pick a product. And that is the hardest part when you first start out is yeah, like, oh my God, like collapsible cups, man, this is it, right? I'm like, I don't know, there's so many, like whatever, right? Like you can do focus groups and all that stuff, but I mean, like use some common sense and see what's selling. Honestly, the best advice I feel like I could have used is really look at the competitors and their listings. Like if it's crappy pictures and poor worded bullet points and descriptions, and then you look through the reviews, like the best thing for me is like looking through reviews and filtering it by the 1 and the 2-star reviews and seeing what people are saying about the product and do something that will fix those complaints. Like if you can launch a product, like if your top 2-3 sellers have common threads and complaints, like fix that and launch that product. Like our best-selling product is exactly that. Like there was the top 3 sellers all had like 4.1, 4.2 ranking, which in Amazon is low. And 4.3 and up is that half star, right? So it looks like you're almost a 5-star. So that's pretty bad when you're showing that. And I looked through the reviews and it was a lot of them were commenting on issues with the product material. So I spent 6 months working with suppliers in China to create a product like that out of a different material that was harder and wouldn't have the issues of the material that was used by everybody else. And so now we're the only product in that niche that uses that material, but we're like the best, well, not the best seller, but we're number 2. And,
you will be.
I mean, as long as I can keep it in stock. Right now I'm having an issue where the supplier can only keep up about 1,000 units a month, and it's just not enough. So the problem is I've gotten pretty tight in bed with that supplier around that product because it took so long to get all the things lined up. It would take probably 3-4 months to find another supplier that could create the same thing because they've kind of got me with it now, and they're limited to about 1,000 pieces a month because it's made out of HDPE, that high density polyurethane, polyethylene.
So it's the raw material that they're having trouble sourcing,
and then cutting it and putting it together the way that we created together. So it's a labor intensive process. It takes a while, and it's not their only product they make for us. I went back to the same supplier for multiple products, like you were talking about doing before.
They keep it simple.
Yeah, I've my first product, that Sky Lanterns, that the supplier I went to for that, I built a really good relationship. I think is another really important thing is to build good relationships with them. I feel like the Chinese really value friendship. And so like if, I'd give them cash on the sides. Not saying that that's the best practice, but I've done it on the side. If I have a successful product and they help me get that point, I've sent them $200-300 as a tip. So we talk a lot, outside, house kids, house family, that kind of stuff. Like just be a good human to and build that friendship. The first product I ever launched, that manager, we don't do Sky Lanterns anymore, but I chat with him every day about 3 different products that we work together on and multiple variations for each one. I've yet to find a really good way to kind of compartmentalize the different products. So we have through that Alibaba chat, it's really hard to kind of keep up with what we're doing because we have so many different products we're working on at any one time. But use them, and they want to get sales. So like when you tell them, hey, I'm kind of researching this product, what do you think about it? Could you source this if I wanted it, or could you help me source it? And a lot of times they have connections.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like my freight forwarder, who the guy who coached me on FBA, like actually like met in China. So I've been working with the same freight forwarder for over 5 years now. And like when I went to China in 2018, like I met up with him, and like so I got that relationship, and he helps me source stuff too. He knows all my manufacturers. So like I don't know if people want to be this hands off, but I'm like I have no problem with it because I'm definitely busy enough. So like he'll just like have the relationship with the manufacturers. They just call him. They're like, oh, it's ready. He just goes, gets it, sends me the bill. And I forward it to my mom, like, Mom, pay them.
I can't do it, Mom, pay me. Oh man, I wish I could
I'm
trust my
laughing, but
mom
it's
with
true.
something like that. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's really good though.
Yeah. I guess, I'm all about streamlining stuff. So right now, I guess or I can just get online banking like you got, and that'd probably be the easier way, because going to the bank branches, man, it's just getting harder and harder. So
Dude,
anyways.
it takes 5 minutes to do a wire online.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
Cool. Hey, the last question I was thinking of, and feel free to add anything you want, because we've been chatting for a while. I've been loving the conversation, but like, I just wanted to ask, like, how passive is FBA? Like, if anybody's watching, they haven't started, like, how passive is FBA?
It depends where you're comfortable stopping, to be honest with you, right? I could have probably stopped a year ago launching new products and just kind of connected with the suppliers maybe once a week and said, let's do an order next week. As long as you're just comfortable with what you have launched, you could stop after one product and just roll on that until every product has a life cycle, right? So if you launch a product, it's good for a year or two until you have to refresh it or change it up or something. But I would say if you wanted it to be fairly passive, you could give it a couple hours a week, 2-3 hours a week and leave it. I probably spend 2 hours a day, give or take, maybe an hour to 2 a day, just because launching new products and then constantly tweaking my PPC.
Yeah.
Because it spends so much, I try to bring it in a little bit. That $300 to $400 a day is, if I could bring that in a little bit, it'd be nice.
That's the responsible thing to do. But that's also, like you said, a function of, like, you have your products that are brand new, you got your ones that are still scaling, and then you got your established ones. And
yeah, and I'm launching new products, and that takes time. You have to constantly be working on them, and to launch new ones. Like if you got to constantly be working on it to get to that point where it launches, and then when you launch it, you can let it go. But like I'm watching it, like I'm going to stay on top of it for a while until it's kind of hit its you can see that with the sales, right? You can see where it's kind of leveled out. And you can leave it at that point, or you can keep working on it and launch another product and invest more time and money into your business. And but yeah, I think it can be passive if that's what you're looking for. I think once I get to it, I already kind of made myself a promise that I wasn't going to try to launch any more products in 2022 and just really focus on the ones that I have as far as getting them launched and kind of streamlined, because they do take a lot of capital when you have 15 products. And so launching products takes capital. Just maintaining the ones you have take capital. I just kind of like to just keep where I'm at and just, really rock out like 10 of them, and make sure I don't run out of stock, and just kind of see where I can end up at the end of the year. Because
let the cash flow level out or catch up almost, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I felt like that too before.
Well, yeah. One of my products takes it's like $15-$16 per unit. So, and I'm going through 1,000 a month. So it adds up pretty quick.
Decent amount.
Yeah. Yep. So.
Cool, man. Well, congrats on the success. It's a good problem to have, right? Even if it's not even a problem really, but it's just a good thing to have.
Yeah, sales are good. Now we'll see what the end of the year P&L says, right? So Jungle Scout says 18% profit, but I'm not sure on their numbers, man. Like it's a little weird.
Yeah, especially aggregating all those. But if the total like revenue has 2 commas, I think that'd be worth popping a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, no, because I remember when I first started this being like $1 million sellers a year. Like, how the heck would you do that? And now it's like I do 100,000 every month. So it doesn't feel like it's that big a deal once you get there, but it is, I guess.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, hey, I've really appreciated the conversation, and we've been in touch for a while, so I'm glad we got to sit down and just kind of like talk about it on YouTube and whatnot. And hopefully, if everybody enjoyed, hit that like and subscribe button. And hey, Matt, man, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Ryan.